Hi, I'm Kaitlynn. I want to start off by saying thank you for reaching out to me to investigate derivative instruments to determine whether or not the use of foreign currency forward contracts or foreign currency option contracts is best to hedge Porter Products' exposure to foreign currency exchange risk. Porter Products purchases vitamins from a supplier in Switzerland. As such, the invoices that are received by Porter Products from these suppliers in Switzerland are denominated in a foreign currency, and the foreign currency in Switzerland is the Swiss franc. As you are well aware, the fluctuations in the foreign currency exchange rates may adversely affect the company's earnings. In order to prevent any of the adverse effects, Porter can use a derivative instrument to hedge its exposure to foreign currency exchange risk. The derivative instruments that we're going to be talking about today are the foreign currency forward contracts and foreign currency option contracts. So I'm going to kind of go over both of them, kind of define them, and then I'll explain the advantages and disadvantages, and then I'll give you my recommendation. So to begin, foreign currency forward contracts are individual contracts that are negotiated with dealers. An advantage of this particular type of instrument is that the contract neutralizes both potential gains and potential losses. Another advantage is that the contract specifies the future price of the foreign currency that's at play. So here it would be the Swiss franc. As such, the contract becomes more valuable as the market price of the foreign currency increases. So as the market price of the Swiss franc increases, then the contract would become more valuable. A disadvantage of forward contracts is that they are hard to get out of. Another advantage of forward contracts is that they neutralize both potential gains and potential losses. So that last disadvantage is both an advantage and a disadvantage. It's kind of in a catch-22 because if you were to have potential gains, well, this blocks you from it. But on the other side, if you did have potential losses, it blocks that from happening as well. Moving forward, foreign currency option contracts provide a hedge against the downside risk of foreign exchange losses, but without losing the chance to experience foreign exchange gains. So you can get gains while it's kind of hedging the downside risk of any losses. So an advantage of this particular instrument is that the buyer would have the right, but not the obligation to buy the contracted amount of foreign currency at a specified exchange rate. So, to lower the risk, the seller would charge the buyer a fee, which in our case is called a premium, to compensate the risk that is being taken. So to kind of even things out here, the seller would charge a premium to the buyer to compensate for the risk. As such, the risk for the buyer is only limited to the premium. They have no other risk besides the premium, and the buyer has a higher potential for returns rather than risks. So there's hardly any risk here for the buyer besides the premium that they have to pay the seller. However, a disadvantage of the foreign currency option contracts is that because the buyer can back out at any time, the seller has an unlimited amount of risk. Additionally, these options very quickly lose their value and their liquidity. So, based on the advantages and disadvantages of foreign currency forward contracts and foreign currency option contracts compared to the USD to Swiss franc exchange rate for 2018 graph that is provided in the paper that is in front of you today, it's my recommendation that Porter Products should hedge its exposure to foreign currency by using the foreign currency forward contract. This particular type of derivative instrument is actually the most basic derivative instrument commonly used to hedge foreign exchange risk. So just to kind of neutralize things out, I think that Porter Products should go with the foreign currency forward contract. I want to go on ahead and say thank you for having me here today. It's been a pleasure I appreciate the opportunity. If y'all have any questions, feel free to contact me.